And I'm here to talk to you about one of the 8 pillars of the Manifest Inerra, sacred space. Sacred space is a fascinating concept. When you understand what it is and how to get there, it is extremely powerful. It is like all of the wizards and witches you see in movies where they create magic and make things happen. When you stand in sacred space, you are literally balanced between the physical world and the spiritual world. You are there in the open door. And how to get there and how to stand there and how to balance there and how to use that power is quite a journey. The sacred space happens when you can identify the opposites in your life and refuse to respond to them. So what that means, for example, is, for myself personally, I've always had challenges with an eating problem. I've always been an emotional eater. However, not anymore, which is really nice. But as an example, I would crave something that's bad for me, and I would feel that life had been tough, things had been really hard on me, and I deserved a break, and I deserved some sort of pleasure in my life. And so I would eat something that was bad for me. And being on that side of the teeter-totter, so to speak, is being on the victim side. Feeling sorry for myself because the world is tough, life is tough, and feeling victimized. And so I want to assuage my bad emotional feelings by eating, which gives me instant pleasure but doesn't last very long and has really bad effects in the future. And then after eating something that was bad for me, well, then I would move to the other side where anger is. Instead of feeling victimized, then I would feel angry. I'd feel angry at myself, and I would punish myself much like a parent might punish a child for doing something wrong. And there was a lot of guilt and a lot of bad self-talk and negative self-talk. And so I would vacillate from one side of that teeter-totter to the other, going from feeling victimized and then eating to feeling angry and guilty. And sacred space is in between those two. Sacred space, when you learn to recognize it, allows you to not have either of those responses. And when you are balanced on that teeter-totter directly between those two forces, that is when your mind is clear. That is when you are in your authentic self. The talking self is the part of you that moves you from one side of that extreme teeter-totter to the other, from victim to anchor. And when you learn to control the talking self, you are then able to hear your authentic self, and that helps you stand in sacred space. So that is sacred space. It can be defined in a lot of different ways. Jesus, who was able to create miracles, understood how to stand in sacred space. He altered reality by doing so. Sacred space is also the space where you're able to feel love in your heart at all times, even when things are going wrong. It's a space where your fight or flight response is no longer dominating your behavior. There's a lot more to be said about sacred space, and as we compare and contrast the 8 pillars and learn how they interact with each other and how they affect each other, we'll be learning more about the nature of sacred space.